Repetition is the master of manifestation, period. It is the master of manifestation. Let me change that. Repetition is the master of reprogramming. Yeah, that's it. We could just end it in the video. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Stephanie, and I am a neurometaphysicist. I help people like you take the world of manifestation and the world of science and bridge them together to reprogram your subconscious mind and get everything that you desire in life. And if you can't tell already, today's subject is repetition. I don't think as a whole we understand the importance of repetition. So imagine this. I had a article that came out about me, and it was supposed to be one thing. They did clickbait. The title was negative. You get into the story, and you were like, "Wait, this doesn't fit the title." But what really happy about the story? That's neither here nor there. I've let that go. I've moved on. But during that time, I have notifications set up for my name, so my name pops up, and I'm on like this blogger, like gossip site thing. So I head over to see what's happening, and I see people chatting. Now, that doesn't really bother me because people have time to talk about people because they don't have anything happening for themselves. So like that didn't really bother me necessarily. But I saw a couple people who were like, "Oh yeah, I follow her on Instagram." Her, me that's talking to you right now. And like she has good content, but she's like repetitive sometimes, as if that's a bad thing. So let me break something down to you guys, and I want to make sure you recognize it. Every great you will notice, no matter what industry they're in, they're saying the same thing in different ways than they did when they first started saying it. They say it in different ways so that you will get it better, so that your psyche will get it better. And I really wanted to say, but you don't get it because you're in here having conversations about me, which means you haven't learned anything from me. So the repetition, you need to go back, turn it back on and watch it. So I thought maybe we should have this conversation because I don't think you understand what repetition does in the brain. So in a repetitive manner, because I've explained this before. There are 3 ways that you can program the mind. And I am only going to touch on, I guess, 1, possibly we'll go into 2. The second way that I always talk about, which is the first for today, is between 7 months gestation and 7 years old. Everything you see and hear is programmed into your mind as truth, and you'll likely see and hear it over and over again. These things between 7 months gestation and 17 years old, 7 years old, it was repetition for you. You saw it all the time. The way you lived, the lack of love, maybe seeing your parents fighting, you see those things repeatedly, and thus it's imprinted into your brain, into your mind as truth. That becomes your love blueprint, your money blueprint, your lifestyle blueprint. It becomes your blueprint, which means it's programmed in because of the repetition. And anything after 7 years old basically goes to imprint in more the truth of what happens between 7 months gestation and seven years old. So that's like the summed up version of those little 2 pieces, right? The way you got programmed came from repetition. The only footnote or side note to that is anything that happened that came with a lot of emotion. So something may have happened to you once and it came with a lot of emotion for you, almost always emotions of pain and sadness. Usually, for some reason, that's a heavier emotion and imprints in as true. And then you take it as truth. But usually it's the repetition thereof. Therefore, and I'm sure you've heard this before, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. That is one of the very clear ways to reprogram your subconscious. So you've gotten these beliefs about love. You've gotten your love blueprint. You've gotten your money blueprint. You've gotten your health blueprint. You've gotten your lifestyle blueprint. You've gotten your blueprint when it comes to interpersonal dealing with other women or other men, and you've gotten blueprints on how to deal with your peers, and you've gotten blueprints on what school and education is. Those things come from seeing something or hearing something or experiencing something repetitively. And that's the only way you're going to reprogram. And so, one of the things that I found very important is for you not just to do affirmations, but to do declarations. You may have heard me say these videos. Watch them over and over and over again. If you take a program from mine, I say do it a minimum of 3 times, but really do it 3 times and come back later and do it another 3 times and come back later and do it again. And every time you hear it, you're going to hear something a little bit different to the point that everything that I say will land for you as truth. Why? Because of repetition. That's why. The power of repetition. It's one of the reasons I wanted to create the app, Your Rich Life app. Y'all who don't know, I have a free app called Your Rich Life. There's an ability to upgrade. You can do a year, you can do monthly to upgrade and get more trainings and more access to me. But even if you don't, there's plenty of trainings that's there and available on the free level. And I suggest going through it multiple times. Why? Because repetition is king, repetition is queen, repetition is everything you want it to be. Repetition is important, guys, when it comes to really becoming this new person that you desire to be. And as I make this video in the very last week of 2023, I don't really like to date videos, but I think this is important. And I think it's an important time to have this conversation, because as I make this video in this moment in time when we're going into a new Gregorian calendar, it is important to remember that if you're moving in and you want something different, you got to do something different, which means repetition, baby. Yeah. And so I was really glad that she left that comment, because it told me I needed to reinforce this with you. That if you aren't repetitively seeing your visions, repetitively living in the moment, repetitively doing these affirmations and feeling it and feeling into it, if you aren't being this person day in and day out repetitively, not just when you feel good, not just when you feel like it, but when you wake up deciding, oh, I'm this person. If you aren't taking the actions to curate and become more of that person every day, day in, repetitively, you never will be. And you're going to end 2024 in the same space and being disgruntled about the areas of your life that you're currently disgruntled. I hope this was helpful for you. I know it was helpful for those of you who are ready to receive this information that's here. If you've downloaded the app, I'd love to hear what you think. If you haven't, we're on Apple only right now. If you would like to do the Android, the Google Play, it is coming. We're in testing phase. If you would like to be one of the testers and you get access to it now so you can upgrade and get in the Founders Club and such, actually, after you download the app for free, email me, Stephanie at Stephanie Sinclair. Let me know you want to be a tester, and I'll have to go in the back end of the Google testing system and add you as a tester. And depending on when you see this, we might actually be up, but it does look like it'll probably be the end of January before we are up for the general public. So that is our little hoop to jump through. If you want to get in, we can make you a tester and you can go ahead and get in. All right. It was a pleasure. I pray that you had the most glorious of holidays. I pray that in the new year, everything you desire just floods to you. And I pray that you know that every day is a new day to be exactly who it is that you deeply desire to be. Until next time, guys.